Well, good evening everyone and welcome along to ILR2 once again. It's Inside Light Racing Season 3. We're back for round 2 here at the Chinese Grand Prix. Once again, ILR1 has just finished and we're right back into the action with ILR2. A debut winner last time out in Australia, an unlikely victor. Scott taking victory that day. He is with us today as well, so let's see if we can get our second different winner in a row today here in China. And joining me as always in the commentary box is our resident ILR1 driver, Brandon.
What's up?
So Brandon, what sort of times we're looking around here? Of course ILR1 is quicker, so what about ILR2? What do you think?
Well, some of the drivers who were doing practice were saying they were doing 1:32.2s, at least low 32s, high 31s. So who knows where their pole time could come from? For we know, these guys could be ILR1 caliber and just waiting to show that skill.
Of course. And we should mention, of course, we have two debutantes today. We have Apex Massive in the Haas right there, the man from Malta, interestingly enough. So I think he's the first Maltese driver in ILR, so welcome along to him. And also I believe VSR Aaron is one of the new ones as well in the Renault, in the number 22. And we also have EFC Matthew as a trialist. He's down in 17th there, so he'll be with us today as well. Not quite the full grid we had last week. We had 20 drivers there, of course, but we have 17 today. We should have 18, but 17 today. 8 minutes left of qualifying. Not many drivers have actually set their laps as of yet, but we are waiting for the first times to come in. So let's see if anybody is on a lap. Currently riding on board with Paga, going through into sector 2. The long left-hander, very kind of flowing section of corners here. Paga, of course, led most of the race in Australia, but was actually passed on the final lap by Scott to take victory. So he's running into sector 3. The sector 2 split is just here. DRS detection is at that line. And then this long right-hander. Paga getting absolutely flat. We have the second DRS, or actually, well, the DRS section is down this very, very long straight. Corey with a 1:32.7 sets the benchmark. So on board with his teammate, running down to the last sequence of corners here. So I just saw Massive has retired, so of course he's not going to be qualifying today since he is a new driver. People are starting to pop in the times now. Where is Paga going to put his Williams? Running a little bit wide out the last corner. DRS open. He is going to go into 5th on a 1:33.0. But once again, it's very close. Top 3, 1:32.7s apiece. 700ths separate the top 3, which of course is Corey, Blade, and Tom. Then Scott setting a 1:32.4, the winner last time out. Doing a good job there. Sam's sitting into P5, Jake in P7, Liam Robbo P8, Pagani P9. We also have Mr. Costa going into first with a 1:32.425. George popping into fourth on a 1:32.70. So Mr. Costa, his first race was last time out in Australia. So let's see if he can get his first pole position here today. It would be a very interesting one indeed. So the first set of times coming through. Massive, Aaron and Matthew will not be setting times as they are new drivers, so that you're looking at the top 14 drivers to be setting times. And once again, it is extremely close up there. I believe everybody's setting their times on the super softs. Are you seeing anybody taking the soft tire, Brandon, or anything else?
No, they're all on the super softs, which either they all got massive faith in doing the super soft and a medium, or there's rain for the race.
I don't think I have any insider information on whether it's a wet race or not. Nobody told me anything, so... Well, it's China, so it probably will rain, but we'll see how it gets on. But the top 2 are separated by 200ths of a second, so it's very, very close. We're looking at Scott, I think, is coming into the pit lane. Everybody coming into the pit lane now. After setting their first round of laps, they'll get on a fresh set of rubber and go out once again. We're in for another cracking qualifying, it looks like, as my goodness me, Take a look at 4th all the way down to 9th, have all set 132.7s. That's how close it is. It is a gap of 800 separating about 5 drivers. That's incredible. That's incredibly close.
It's near enough 9/10 between 1st and 14th as well.
And I think it's just changed again. Well, it's from 3rd. It's actually from 3rd down to 9th that they've all set 132.7s. 800 separate the... wow, that's incredible. To the top... from 6 drivers separated by 800ths. Only in ILR2.
AVR Jake has said it's going to rain at the start.
Okay, well, we're in for a wet start then. That should be interesting.
Of course, it's ILR2. When doesn't it rain?
Absolutely. So currently Mr. Costa on provisional pole position on a 132.425. 4 minutes remain in qualifying, and there's quite a gap between Mr. Costa and Scott. Between Mr. Costa and Scott down to Corey. About 0.3 of a second, but of course this was the first round of laps, almost banker laps almost. So we'll see if you guys improve, but currently slowest of the lot is Liam Robbo in P14. Everybody in the pit lane, apart from Pagani, who has just come into the pit lane now. So everybody is in the pit lane, but EFC Matthew has decided that he wants to be not part of the crowd and come out onto the track. He's the trialist today. Had a short absence, but is now back as a trialist here.
It does seem weird looking at EFC Matthew out in a Sauber and not in a Toro Rosso.
Yeah, it just doesn't feel right. Doesn't feel right. That's what I remembered him. It was in a Toro Rosso, but now he's in a Sauber. So let's see how he gets on. He's teammates with Phil Bardwell, who's not here today. Well, he should be. If everything goes well today, he should be. But we'll see how he gets on. So now drivers starting to return back out onto the track. Lyle Blade back out. Tom back outside on Assassin. Sam back out on track. So let's see how everybody gets on. It should be an interesting climax to qualifying, as currently Mr. Costa 96 on provisional pole position on course for his first ever pole position. Scott also, no pole positions for him, so he could potentially get his best start in ILR. So some interesting stuff there. Let's see. Everybody's starting to come back out on track now. It's going to get very busy.
EFC Matthews comes straight into traffic with AVR Jake.
Right. So let's see if we can catch anybody on a lap, or anybody about to begin a lap. I believe Tom should be going on towards. We're right on board with Tom as he runs down to turn number 1. It is a very, very tough first corner. He's going to drop down the gears. It's a never-ending right-hander, keeping it wide out and then clip the apex on the way in, and then it's very, very tough little left-hander. Get on the power, try not to lose the rear end, and down towards the end of Sector 1. Let's see how his split times are looking on the steering wheel. We're not going to see that because he is on a fresh lap. So round to this beautiful left-hander, which is flat in these 2017 cars. You'll see maxing out 6th gears, changing up to 7th momentarily, and then switching down a few gears for this nice little flowing right-left section into the double left-hander, clipping the curb. Very nicely done. Down towards the Sector 2 split. Just before this braking zone, and then we come to the DRS detection point for this extremely long back straight, leading us back to the start-finish. So, very nice on the way out there from Tom. He'll have DRS halfway down this straight. There's the DRS detection point. You'll see it pop open on the rear end. Paul McGuinness gets out of the way very nicely for him. And down towards this hard braking section, 5 Gs of force on the driver as they hit the brakes there. The matter gets out of the way for Tom. And here we go then, towards the last corner. Deceivingly tough, very easy to cut the corner. And on the power goes Tom. Where's it going to put him? Is it going to improve? He's going to come across line and go 3rd with that lap on a 132.590. So now we're going to see the improvements from all of these drivers. Everybody is pretty much out on track as of now. 15 drivers all out on track at once. VSR Aaron actually coming out as well, maybe just to have a look around, see how it's going. Scott there on a lap into Sector 2, he's going through the long, sweeping left-hander. Silent Assassin with a lap of a 132.224 steals provisional pole position, but everybody is on laps. Sam pops into P2 on a 132.3. Lyle Blade with a 132.111. Now it gets interesting. So let's see if Scott and Mr. Costa can do anything to improve their positions. It's so close, but it's currently Lyle Blade on provisional pole position. Paga pops into P3, 132.3, and steals it from Flexi. So, coming through the last few corners, we have Mr. Costa and Scott. Scott just ahead of the Haas. Let's see where he can go. I think Scott has backed out of it, so Mr. Costa is the one we're going to watch and see what he can do. He was on provisional pole position and he's now dropped all the way down to 5th. What can he do? Can he steal his first ever pole position in ILR? Coming through the final corner, what can he do? It's going to be the Haas across the line, and he can do it on a 132.104 by a couple of thousandths of a second. And what a story. And Paga's got a 0-place grid penalty. That's very interesting. Very interesting.
That's obviously going to make a difference. He's made a collision with Flexi, who retired.
Interesting. Well, qualifying is not over. Lyle Blade is still on a lap, as is Silent Assassin. So let's see what they can do. Mr. Costa on pole position by a couple of thousandths of a second. Can Lyle Blade steal it? Silent Assassin can improve. Lyle Blade, how's he doing? He's a 10th of a second up on his best. Coming through the final corner. Can Lyle Blade steal pole position here in China? No, yes he can, 131.9. At the dying breath, he takes pole position in China, stealing it from Mr. Costa. But Mr. Costa, what a great performance, gets a front row start in just his second race as a full-time ILR driver. So kudos to him. Silent Assassin will line up P3, but the heavy hitters really haven't hit heavy in this qualifying. It's all been guys we wouldn't really expect to be up there. Well, Lyle Blade is a very quick driver, but there he is on pole position for China. And so there is your confirmation.
It's a 5-place grid penalty for Paga. That's
right.
Unfortunate.
Yeah, what a shame. So he's going to drop to 9th position, promoting Flexi to 4th. Everybody down towards that area will get promoted 1 place, but it's Lyle Blade on pole position, Mr. Costa in 2nd. And outside the top 10, we're going to have Paul McGuinness, Liam Robbo, Pagani, Jake, Matthew Massive in his debut race, and Aaron also in his debut race with EFC Matthew as the trialist, starting 15th. I think this is going to be an interesting one because we're going to have a wet start to the race, ladies and gentlemen.
I'm just looking at the times, and I'm seeing that I would have qualified 40th.
Wow, so that shows you how quick some of these guys are in ILR2. We pretty much said before the start of the season, this is pretty much ILR 1.5. It's everybody's just so quick in this tier.
I think Leo would have been up there in the top 6 in qualifying, around there. So, and the fact that they were 2-lap-old super softs, that was his 2nd lap around.
It's impressive.
That is some pace.
Well, it's not going to mean much at this beginning of the race. It will dry up at some point during the race, but we just don't know when. So this probably will mix up the grid a little bit. So we're going to have the formation lap, as always, at the beginning of China. So it's going to be the Red Bull of Lyle Blade leading the pack away. Why are they all on dry tyres? Oh dear. They seem to be all on super soft tyres. So DRS is obviously still enabled, but oh dear, this is not going to go well.
Oh, that screwed all their strategies over. They were all hoping for a properly wet start, and they've all been forced onto their super soft tyres. That has
no,
royally screwed this. What everyone thought would have been a great strategy for the top 10.
Yeah, well the reason for that is that it isn't wet enough for DRS to be disabled, so they just automatically put on dry tyres. So basically that's screwed everyone over, and this is going to be probably one of the most chaotic starts to a Grand Prix you're going to see. So anyways, going through the grid, we have Lyleblade on pole position. Mr. Costa with his first ever front row start, starting in P2. Silent Assassin in P3, Sam in P4. Scott, the winner last time out, in P5. George in P6. Corey in P7. Tom in P8. Paga with his 5th place grid drop, P9. The Matter in P10. And Paul McGuinness in P11. Liam Robbo P12. Pagani in P13. ILRGT P14, and down the back the 3 new drivers to ILR2, EFC Matthew, Massive, and Aaron in P17 decided probably smartly to go on the mediums, which is probably the best in these conditions, to be honest. Harder compounds tend to do better in the wet. So
only 3 drivers have gone to the mediums.
Yeah, let's just have a look. There's your tyres. So top 10 on super softs. Paul on softs, Liam and Pagani and Aaron all on mediums, AVR, Jake and Matthew on softs, and Massive on super softs. This is going to be probably absolute disaster.
I dread to think which car is going to be the bowling ball and which car is going to be the pins coming into turn 1.
Well, it's going to be 17 pin bowling here in China. So let's see how they get on. It's going to be live. They're lining up on pole position here in China. Round 2 of ILR2. Season number 3 will be getting underway very, very shortly indeed. Let's see how the drivers get on in these very, very challenging conditions. They're starting on dry tyres in the wet. Probably the toughest thing you can do. Aaron going to be lining up at the back and is going to be observing everything that goes on here. They're loading in, they're getting ready to go, and it's in a short while we'll see those lights light up across our screens. Lights out, and away we go. They all scramble for grip. Mr. Costa gets sideways. Who is going to be victorious into turn 1? It's going to be Lyleblade into turn 1, and it's going to be the Haas looking up the inside, but everybody seems to have actually gotten through pretty cleanly. So they're all taking it very, very slowly. Lyleblade leads into turn number 1. Mr. Costa in P2. George up to P3. That's a great start from him. He's battling away with Silent Assassin, but they're all getting sideways. Oh, there's a Ferrari in the wall. That's Silent Assassin who's gone off. So it hasn't all been clean. He's dropped right to the back, and it's a big, big scramble in the middle of the pack there between the Toro Rossos, the Force India, the Mercedes. But they all... Liam up to 7th in the Force India. How has he done that? That's a great start from him. He's on the medium tyres, of course, which would be better in these conditions. So, an excellent start from the Force India, up in 7th. He got 3rd positions. He got 3rd last time out in Australia, out of nowhere on the final lap. But it is Lyleblade from Mr. Costa from George. So the Force Indies have made fantastic tracks through the field. Also Paga up to 6th from 9th. And everybody seems to have gone up the field as well. Actually, by the way, Aaron up to 11th from 17th. So he's doing a great job. Mr. Costa's lost it. Lost it in the long right-hander. So it's all gone to pot for him, promoting the Force India of George to P2 and Corey up to P3. Where's he come from? So, he's all the way off on the grass. There's Carnes in the background, Toro Rosso off wide. So they're all struggling for grip as we run down towards the end of lap 1. We're seeing a move there between Tom and, I believe, Sam. Yes, down the inside for the Ferrari. But look at the Toro Rosso, Paul McGuinness on the inside. They're almost 3 wide, but Paul McGuinness on the outside. Sam losing it, and Tom gets through as a result. And VSR Aaron, look at him go. He started down the back in 17th. He's up to 9th already. So he's doing a fantastic job. And now he's gone 3 wide with the Toro Rosso and the Ferrari. And he's going to mug both of them off. What a fantastic move from the Renault, up to 7th on his debut. Great stuff from the Renault driver there.
My word. He has damage as well. Or at least it looks like he has damage on my screen. It might not be damage, but it looks like damage on my screen.
Yeah, I just saw Tom and Paul going wheel to wheel there, and Paul coming out on the top of it. Aaron just mugged both of them off there. That's fantastic. So up to the battle for 3rd. Scott is starting to challenge Corey now for P3 in this race, and it's still not wet enough for intermediates. We haven't had that DRS disabled sign up just yet, but they will be struggling for grip, particularly in the slower corners. So let's see, as they run through, Corey's looking like he's struggling, but Scott looking like he's very comfortable in these conditions. So let's see how he gets on. Corey getting a tail slide on, as well as Scott. And George closing in on Lyleblade up the front as well. So the field is already all mixed up. And it's very, very interesting. VSR Aaron starting to get himself involved in the battle up here as well. He's starting to close in on Liam Robbo on this little train. Let's just flick back to the front as George goes side by side with Lyleblade for the lead. Lyleblade squeezing him off to the grass momentarily. Side by side down towards the final sequence of corners, and George, I believe, is ahead. Yes, he is, and he has got ahead, but Lively's going to get the cut back and get through it back into the lead. Meanwhile, Scott fighting away with Corey, and I think Scott's got the traction on the inside, Corey on the outside into the final corner. It's going to be very tough to go side by side here. Scott on the inside, they managed to do so. He shoves him off wide. Now let's see who's going to come out on top. Scott is ahead, so a good move for the Renault, but it's not over because Pag is now involved with his teammate. Is there going to be any moves made? Corey trying to defend from his teammate. He does do so. Scott into P3 now, and DRS has been enabled or disabled. That's quite an interesting one. But Paga looking up the inside of his teammate and now trying to find a way around the outside of Scott. Not going to work. They're getting all bunched up here now as Liam Robbo now involved, as well as VSR Aaron. He's right there with them. So it's a big old scrap for position here as Liam Robbo up to 5th now, fighting with Paga trying to get past. Paga trying to find a way past him. VSR Aaron now involved up the inside of Corey, up the inside of both of them. Into 5th goes the Renault driver, past Corey and past the Force India. What a drive this is from the Renault in the opening part of this race. So this is fantastic driving from the Renault. And now he's starting to challenge Paga, so those mediums are really working for him in siding through this traffic and getting up towards the front. This could be a very, very interesting race for him. And he's really asserting himself early on, diving down the inside of Paga. Paga was not expecting that. Paga on the inside and the Renault on the outside. He's not going to get the traction there though. He may try on the exit, so let's see as they run through. Liam Robbo's on the inside though, and he's going to steal that away from VSR Aaron. Let's see if Liam Robbo can also get the position on Paga. So keeping an eye on the Renault. They both have DRS. DRS is actually enabled, so it's getting drier. It's, oh no, into the grass. How has he saved that? How on earth has he saved that? And he manages to keep his position. So very, very hairy moment. Look at Paul McGuinness. He's there as well, looking on the outside of the Renault and gets the traction and past he goes. So absolute chaotic start here in China as they all... Oh, there's a bit of debris flying there in the background. Liam Robbo fighting with Paga. He's going to go to the outside of turn 1. Is he going to make that? Surely not. Paga fights back, but it's not going to be Liam Robbo on the inside. Gets the cut back on the way in, and he has got that move done. But Paga looking, he punts him in the rear, but Liam holds on to that position.
It's been from a master to a disaster for VSR Aaron. He was swerving on that straight, just taps Liam, and that was him gone into the grass.
He's very lucky. He didn't pick up any damage. He didn't actually hit the wall. He just managed to slide a bit on the grass and keep himself out of it. Corey and Tom are having a right old scrap here in P8 and 9. And actually, is that Sam? That's Matthew involved. Where's he come around the outside of the two of them? How on earth has he done that? It's actually Sam fighting with him as well. So they went 3 wide into that long left-hander. Matthew holding on versus the 2 Mercedes and the Williams. It's going to be Corey down the inside of Matthew. There's Pagani involved as well. They make contact and Pagani gets through as well. So Matthew being real audacious, fair play to him. He is being trialled here today. So let's see how he gets on. That was not... actually, that was AVR Jake. I'm so used to Pagani being in the Mercedes. That was AVR Jake getting past him in the Mercedes. So moving back up through the field, let's have a look at Liam Robbo starting to challenge Scott for position. This is for 3rd position. He's got a slipstream right past in the DRS. Is Scott going to fight this? Yes, he is. Late on the brakes, but it's going to be no cigar for the Renault, and it's going to be Liam Robbo into P3 with a nice slick move past the Renault. And now we see down the back here, AVR Jake and Corey going wheel to wheel out of the last couple of corners, side by side into the final corner. Also EFC Matthew and Pagani going wheel to wheel, and in comes Corey into the pit lane. Also Aaron in as well. So a few drivers in there. I just saw a bit of shoving going on between Matthew and Pagani as Pagani tries to get past Matthew, and he has done so before turn 1. So they all file through. It's a wing change for Aaron, so he did pick up a bit of damage. Corey as well. His car is invisible on my screen. And Mr. Costa is in for a wing change as well. So they're all in for some sort of damage. So now we can probably just take a little breather after all that madness in the opening 5 laps of this race at China. And the rain has stopped, actually. So it is stopped in Sector 2. Just looking there. So now the track temperature can start to rise a little bit if the sun comes out for us. It will still be wet, of course, but thankfully they did not need intermediates. So now we're going to see a little bit of action. Lap time starting to drop, as we have this little battle for 4th going on between Scott Paga and Paul McGuinness also. And Liam Robbo also closing in on his teammate in P2 and P2 and 3. So let's see. Scott with good straight line speed in that Renault. Paga unable to keep up with him. Neither was Paul. Let's see if Sam can make the move past Tom. No, we can't. Liveblade now starting to set fast laps, but Liam Robbo takes that away. And he's setting those timers on the mediums, which is quite impressive. We have this nice little train going on from Tom down to the Matter. So let's see maybe if anybody can make any moves. No moves as of yet. Paul McGuinness looking quite threatening behind Paga in that Toro Rosso. Let's see what he can do. This is for P5. Silent Assassin sets fastest lap of the race, and the lap times are starting to drop very, very rapidly. Liam Robbo now within DRS of his teammate. Let's see what he can do. AVR Jake making a move past Pagani. They're going side by side, and Jake makes that move before the right-hander, and he's into 9th. Chasing after his teammate now. Back up to the front, 3rd and 2nd. Liam Robbo flying in P3. Let's see if he can make this move past his teammate. He's going to have DRS down the main straight, so he's going to just wait and be patient, and he should be able to get past his teammate very easily here. So we're going to ride on board with Liam Robbo. Took 3rd last time out in Albert Park, and is looking like he might be on course for another podium. So here we go then. DRS for the Force India, but he's going to be far too far back here to do anything, so he's going to have to wait a little bit longer. He needs to be right on his gearbox to even have a chance at that. It is still raining slightly in certain parts of the track, so the drivers are going to have to be watching out for that. We're going to see AVR Jake and Pagani actually going at it there. Pagani got back past, but Jake got back past again, so going well for them. Every driver still within a good distance of each other, keeping each other honest. And I can see the Force Indias up there going at it. Liam trying to find a way past. He's got a good exit out of that first couple of corners there, so riding on board. He's actually already got past. I think George backed out of it to let him through, and that's into 2nd for Liam Robbo, with VSR Aaron setting the fastest lap of the race on a 1:38.7. Let's go back to this battle between... Oh, I saw a bit of...
Jake and Pagani.
Yeah, that's what I was going back to. Here they go then through the long left-hander. Matthew slipping it down the inside out of nowhere. There's Matthew on the outside. The McLaren on the inside. Matthew holds it on the outside, slips it to the inside. Oh, he's in the wall and out of the race. All of a sudden it all ended in tears. It was going so well. Pagani ends up in the wall and is the first retirement from the Chinese Grand Prix in ILR2. That was a heavy, heavy impact in the wall. But that is the end of his race.
At least it wasn't an engine failure.
Yeah, so I guess McLaren Honda can be proud of that one. So then,
that was just an explosive reaction to getting tapped.
Yeah, I'm quite surprised. It didn't seem like much of a tap, but it just sent him right into the wall. So let's go back to Matthew, who's now chasing after AVR Jake as a result of that. He's now in the top 10. So he's going to have DRS down the main straight. George sticking with his teammate as well. Probably Liam just dragging George along. maybe trying to tag team and catch up to Lyleblade, but Lyleblade still doing a very good job out front. ILR going very quickly in 13th, 136.6. So let's see how Matthew gets on here. So the track very much dry now. It was raining in certain sections. It seems to have dried off a little bit. And the sky beginning to clear, patches of blue appearing through the clouds. So it looks like we're going to have a nice dry ending to this race. And no sign of the rain returning. Now the lap times start to fall even more. Back to the battle between Sam and Tom, former teammates at Renault. Now in Mercedes and Ferrari respectively. Let's see if Sam can make any sort of move past his old teammate here. DRS on the Mercedes. Nothing for him there. Following Tom around. In the dirty air, not going to be helping his tyre wear. So let's see what he can do here. Nobody making any moves. I just see the Matter flying into the pit lane there. In the background in 11th. So let's see what he does. That puts Massive into P11. He's kind of in a lonely place there. He's on his own. Riding around in P11. VSR Aaron is just in 12th there, setting fastest lap after fastest lap. So doing great there. The Matter now goes on to the soft compound of tyre on P9. Or on lap 9, should I say. Matthew still looking for a way past AVR Jake. It's been following him around for a little bit now. Where can he make this move? Of course, the trialist for today was formerly a racer for a little while. Took a little break, but is now being trialled in ILR2. And right now he's doing a good job showing that he has got the pace and he's capable of battling. Let's see how he can deal with AVR Jake here. Coming to the long right-hander. Who's going to get the better exit? Riding on board with the Sauber. He's going to have DRS. Down the back straight then. You'll see the difference in speed as he closes in, hitting 200 miles an hour, close to 210 miles an hour down this back straight. Very late on the brakes for him, but not able. Meanwhile, Paga has been passed by Paul as he heads into the pit lane. So let's keep an eye on this pit stop for Paga. What's he going to go on to? It's going to be the medium tyres for Paga. So he's going for a one stop, it looks like. Let's see if he can make those mediums last to the end.
A lot of the drivers will be looking to go onto those that set of mediums from now on to the end of the race. I think that's why they've kind of held out for so long on those super softs. Because that was probably the only strategy they really had left available to if they wanted to claim points. Because as Liam's showing at the top at the moment, those mediums working so well early on, I think he's kind of changed the mind for everyone else, and they're kind of, after obviously not starting on the inters, they've realised they have to go into the mediums now, otherwise they've lost their shot.
Yep, so we should see everybody, well, maybe a few different compounds, but most of the drivers should be on the mediums by the end. So now we're looking at Paga. Let's see if he can make any progress. Silent Assassin was up in P4 at the beginning of the race, but he ended up in the wall. So now he's got to try and hold Paga behind him on fresh medium tyres. So let's see if he can disperse him. Silent Assassin running very wide out of that right-hander and losing a lot of time. Lyleblade is into the pits from the lead, putting Liam Robbo into the lead of this race. George into the pits as well, putting Scott to P2. I think Sam has got past Tom because he has come into the pit lane. Let's go back to Paga momentarily. And he was unable to get past. So the pit stops then. Who comes out where? Let's see where Lyoblade's going to come out. He's going to come out just in front of VSR Aaron. So he's going to come out in P6, which is a good position for him. VSR Aaron in P7. He's been banging in fastest laps on the soft. Silent Assassin. Oh, there's a bit of a stack-up going on because Silent Assassin has just... Oh, dear, there's been contact between the Force India and Paga. And he has saved it, but just about. Side pod on tyre contact. And George comes out just in front of Paga, which is what he needed. And Silent Assassin has managed to get out in front of them. So let's go back up to Scott, maybe. Let's see, he's probably going to be coming in this lap. Let's see where he's going to come out.
You can see the blistering on those tyres.
Yes, you can. Riding on board, you can see down the middle of the tyres, you see the graining, the blistering in the middle of the tyre, showing how worn they are. You look on the rears, you've got a double blister in the middle of the tyre, so this has got to be it for him. He's pushed them to the limit. He's gone 11 laps on them, as has Flexi. So this is going to be a no-brainer for Scott. Surely he's got to come in. Yes, he does. Liam Robert will stay out for a lot longer. He started on the medium tyres, and he will have to stop at some point, but not as of yet. AVR Jake past Sam into P3 as they make a stop. That puts AVR Jake and Matthew into P2 and 3 respectively. Now where is Scott going to come out? Into his pit box. The Renault crew go to work. Stick on a set of medium tyres. They're going to come out behind Lyoblade, of course. But it's going to bring him out just behind George. So George has jumped him and made the undercut work. So that was a good job from George there. And he's battling away with Silent Assassin. But of course, Silent Assassin is helping Scott here as he's backing George up into him. So this can really help Scott here. He's got to get past the Force India. And the Force India's got to get past the Ferrari. Meanwhile, Paga and Paul now together in this battle as well. So a nice little battle going on here. So everybody filing through after making their stops. Nobody is on the super softs. Everybody's either on the soft or the medium. The majority of people on the medium tyre. Everybody on the softs, apart from VSR Aaron, started on those soft tyres, and I think Mr. Costa as well. So they'll be going slightly longer into this race, but I can't see them scoring podiums with their strategy, but we'll see how it goes. Sam makes his way past Corey, and I think there's been a problem for Corey. Yeah, it looks like his AI has taken over there. Let's move back to, yeah, that's him out. Second time in a row that's happened to him. So he's, I believe, out of this race. Matthew and Jake into the pit lane. So now this is the scrap for the podium. Lyoblade into P2. Silent VSR Aaron into P3. Actually, he's quite a ways up the road, actually. So this is the battle for, this will be for P5 currently. P4, actually. So George unable to make his way past. But they've got a long, long train of cars behind him. He's trying to slip one up the inside. Bit of contact. There's Paul McGuinness and Paga going wheel to wheel. Paul manages to hold on. He actually got past Paga down that main straight, so he's into P7. Let's see. George still unable to make a move, and that has allowed Scott to close up to him. Meanwhile, actually, I believe VSR Aaron is right on the back of Lyoblade. Yes, he is. So in his debut race, he's doing a fantastic job up there in P3. He's on the soft tyre. He will have to stop again. But right now, he's showing some good pace. Back to the battle for fourth then. Paul McGuinness with a massive twitch in the background. We just saw that there. So now we're going to have this slipstreaming fest, this DRS fest down this main straight here. Who's going to get the exit? It looks like George got a fantastic drive out of that last sequence there. So let's see. Silent Assassin goes defensive. He goes to the inside. DRS open on the Force India. Surely it's going to be George to get past here. But good straight line spin. The Ferrari to the outside. He's going to have to go late on the brakes for the Force India. Can he hang it around the outside? He looks like he can, but Silent Assassin holds on. Can he get the traction? No. Silent Assassin holds on for now, but there is a second bite of the cherry down the start finish. So let's see if we can do it. Silent Assassin runs very wide out of the last corner. So DRS open on the Force India once again to the inside, squeezing him to the wall. So close. And George will make his way past. No, he can't, because Silent Assassin hangs around the outside, but he finally seems to have made it work. Tantalizing stuff there from the Force India and the Ferrari, squeezing him right to the wall. I also see Tom and Paga going at it there. I believe Tom just got past him, and he's into P8.
Just gets past Paga, but there was a nudge from Paga towards the end of turn 1, and there was a nudge turning Tom sideways, and I think Tom was lucky enough not to be completely sideways in that scenario.
So, yeah. Looking at Silent Assassin, he's still right on the back of George and sticking with him. Scott just hanging back, but he's got Paul McGuinness for company, and Paul's looking really quick on those mediums. So let's see if Paul can make his way past. Jinx out of the slipstream momentarily. I just saw, I believe, a bit of debris flying there. I think Silent Assassin hit the back of him. Yeah, he did. There's an end plate missing off that Ferrari, so here comes Scott and Paul to take that position, slipping it up the inside. Then goes the Renault. He'll have DRS, so it'll help him get past. But also the Ferrari has it. Paul McGuinness will also try and follow in the slipstream. Is he going to make it 3 wide? He can't quite do it. But now it's going to be Scott trying to get past Silent Assassin, holding on that outside line. But Scott's going to cut back on the inside, try and get the traction, but he just can't. And Silent Assassin, with a great bit of driving there, is holding on, even with that wing damage. But I think he ran a bit wide out of that corner there. So now look at Scott on the outside, running down to turn 1. He's pulling outside. They're going 3 wide into turn 1. He backs out of it. Paul backed out of it, I think, smartly. But look at him on the inside, taking both of them at once. Great move from the Scotsman up the inside of the both of them, showing them how it's done. And now look at Silent Assassin still battling away with Scott, but he gets... Oh, Paul, look, he's losing the back end. Silent Assassin still looking, but he can't get past. And I think Paul is into P5. I think he's made it stick. Yes, he has. So a great move from Paul McGuinness. A double overtake into turn 1. That is how you do it.
Oh, go on, Scott.
Oh, Scott, what a move. Round the outside into the long right-hander. That is how you do it. Tom makes his way past his teammate as well. Just caught the end of that overtake. That was fabulous from both the Toro Rosso and the Renault.
He goes straight down the inside of Silent Assassin and then manages to finalise the move going around the outside. That was... I mean, sure, Silent Assassin has a damaged front wing, but still, got to give it to him having the balls to make the move.
Fabulous stuff from the two of them. But now we're going to see the battle between both Scott and Paul, and also Tom going to get involved as well. So now we're going to have this 3-way battle for 5th position. This will be, this is a very interesting battle. Meanwhile, Liam Robbo's still out in the lead of this race, but he hasn't stopped yet, so he will have to stop again. VSR Aaron, he has stopped. Silent Assassin is in finally to take his pit stop. But let's see this battle then. Scott, Paul, Tom. Who's going to come out on top? The two Scotsmen about to go at it then. Who is going to get the better of who? So currently, your lineup: Liam in the lead, Lyleblade in P2, VSR Aaron in P3, and George in P4, Paul McGuinness in P5, Scott in P6, Tom in P7, Pag in P8, Sam in P9, and Matter in P10. So let's see, Liam, he's actually keeping that gap solid at around 18 seconds, so it might be tight in the pit lane when he makes his stop. If he can keep that gap constant or bring it up a bit more, he could still maybe come out in the lead.
I think Liam's in the prime scenario here, prime situation for him to be in, because he can go onto a much faster tyre and just go rapid at the end.
In he comes, he's in. So, Lyleblade in the last corner, but as you said, Liam will be able to bang on a set of super softs maybe. He's going to go on the soft tyres. Well, let's see how he gets on then. Lyleblade is going to take the lead, of course, but Liam Robbo is going to be on the faster tyre, and he's going to be quite close to him. VSR Aaron is going to come out, well, he's going to come out behind Aaron, but VSR Aaron, by the way, is still running around in P2. He's going to do a great job. Now, the battle between Paul and Scott is raging on as Scott goes to the outside. He's going to sweep around the outside, maybe. Yes, he is. And he's going to get that move done. Sweeping around the outside. Paul McGuinness on the inside. Scott is going to make that move stick, I think. Paul McGuinness is going to fight it on the outside. Can Scott get the traction? Yes, he can. Fabulous stuff from the two Scotsmen. He's still there. Paul McGuinness on the outside, running into the inside for this next corner. Who is going to come out on top? Oh, George has spun ahead of them. So they're going to take a position away nonetheless, but that was actually lag on my screen, but he has dropped back quite a bit for me. Paul McGuinness just about holds on there. Oh dear, George is lagging around on our screens. We don't quite know where he is, but I think he has lost that position. So Paul McGuinness into P4, Scott into P5, and Tom into P6. And that is him out. That's him gone. What a shame, he was up running very, very well, just behind his teammate. But now this is the battle for fourth. Yeah, well, what a shocker. He
didn't get pole.
He didn't get pole. Usually he disconnects when he gets pole. That's the sad thing. He's got back though, so let's see if he can get himself back driving again with 11 laps to go.
Thomas slowly gaining on Scott.
Is he going to dive down the inside? No, just jinks out of the slipstream. And keeps himself behind for now. Liam Robbo closing in on VSR and VSR on much, much older tyres. And I think it's going to be no contest. I'm sticking with this three-way battle. We'll flick to Liam Robbo quickly. And he's in the prime position because only 2.8 seconds up the road is your race leader, Lyle Blade. But right now, Liam Robbo is looking to take the victory here. And correct me if I'm wrong, but I don't think he has a race victory either.
No, I don't believe he does.
So could this be a double debut winner? Well, double first win for two drivers in two successive races. It'd be quite the scenes if we saw that. So, meanwhile, in the battle for fourth, it's still Paul McGuinness. The hashtag MCG train has returned for season 3. You see it in action as we see Paul, Scott, and Tom. And Sam also just in the background there. Liam Robbo going to the outside of VSR Aaron. So now VSR Aaron getting his first taste of battling for podiums here. So, can he slip one up the inside? He's on much older tyres, is VSR Aaron. So, riding on board with the Force India, I don't think it's going to be too much of a contest. But he needs to get past in order to chase after Lyle Blade. So here we go then, VSR Aaron going defensive, so fighting his position as he's well entitled to. Now he goes to the outside, does Liam Robbo. Is he going to hang around the outside of this corner? VSR Aaron gives him a little nudge, he runs a bit wide, so he still holds on for now. Meanwhile, back to this battle between Paul McGuinness and Scott. No changes as of yet. Matthew makes his way past Paga. He slips one down the inside of the Dutchman. Can the Dutchman get his cut back all the way out? Yes, he can, but Matthew, with a nice slick move there, makes his way past into P9.
Liam down the inside of VSR Aaron.
Yeah, he's making it work. I think this time hanging around the outside of VSR Aaron, doing a great job, parking the bus on the apex and holds on. So some great stuff from the debutant. He's showing what he's made of. Fighting versus Liam Robbo here. Surely no contest this time. Is he going to dive down the outside? Yes, he can on the brakes. Down the inside for the Force India. But the Renault still holds on the inside. Some fantastic racing here in China. But he still holds on. Does Aaron. How long can he hold on as a result Liam is dropping so much time to Lyle Blade? He's now 4 seconds up the road. He was 2.8 momentarily back there. There he goes to the outside. VSR Aaron defending hard. Now, let's see. DRS this time, he's a bit closer than he was last time. I think he's almost alongside, running through these on the inside. Yes, he is. But hanging around the outside is the Renault of Aaron. Alongside go the two cars there, but VSR Aaron is still just about ahead, but it's going to be DRS for the Force, and he squeezes him to the grass, and that's going to be the door shut in his face. Liam Robbo still cannot find a way past Aaron here. This is a masterclass of defence from the Renault. Cut back for Liam here, but he can't make it work. This is fantastic defensive driving from the Renault, and all this is allowing him to get through, but VSR Aaron comes in at last. He was just making Liam Robbo's life harder. But what a fantastic display of defensive driving from the Renault driver there. But that means this battle between Paul, Scott Tom and Sam is for the last podium position. As we see, I believe, Tom going down the inside of Scott into turn 1, and he's made that work very easily, actually. So, now into P4 goes Tom. Crashed out of the last race on the last lap. Let's see if he can redeem himself here. So with 8 laps to go then, it's going to be 4.8 seconds, the gap between Liam and Lyle. Who is going to take race victory? Lyle Blade with a previous race victory. Liam with no race victories to his name in ILR.
Ooh, George's round in the start-finish straight.
So from... he's really gone downhill from that disconnection. It's dropped him down right down to 15th, and Corey also having a torrid time there. So now VSRR, and he's on super softs. Now he's going to be on the charge through the field. We'll keep an eye on his progress. But meanwhile, we're going to stick with this little battle between these guys in P3 down to P6. And also Matthew and Matter battling for P7 in the background. Meanwhile, the other debutant, Massive, in P8 doing a great job. So now, Paul McGuinness pulled a small little lead there, just ahead of Tom. And Scott still sticking with the Northern Irishman here. VSR Aaron makes his way past AVR Jake into P10, so he's now in the points. The gap between Liam and Lyle coming down. Matter makes his way past EFC Matthew. They're battling away. Matthew momentarily got ahead. But no. Oh, Pag is out. That's a... Oh, dear. He's been in the wall at...
He's
that's on the way.
around the corner.
Yeah, that's coming in down the main straight there. He's lost it on the way out. So that's it for Pag. His first retirement. And now that's going to be his race over. The Matter comes in for a stop onto Super Softs. So let's see how he gets on. Mr. Costa setting fastest laps. He started P2, but now he's all the way down in P12. And we have this tantalizing battle between Paul McGuinness, Tom, Scott and Flexi for P3 in this race. They're 9 seconds behind. Well, almost 10 seconds behind Liam Robert, who's closing in rapidly on... there's Sam down the inside of Scott. He's done it. Nice move from Flexi there. Caught Scott a bit off guard, I reckon. So is Scott going to maybe retaliate? No, he's not. So Sam on a charge. Can he get a podium in China? He has a terrible record around Albert Park, but seems to be able to do it here. He's going side by side with Tom, slipping it down the inside. Is he ahead? Just about. And he will have DRS because he got to the detection point. So I think he managed to get himself into P4. Tom is unable to fight back, and Sam is into P4 and is now looking very challenging for a podium. Suddenly, he's put the afterburners on and he's going for it.
Scott is going to be on the back foot from now on. He is teetering on that balance of no fuel left for the race. No rich mix anyway for the rest of the race.
Yeah, such a shame.
Ooh.
Oh, he's slipping it down the inside of Tom. So he's put one back on the Northern Irishman and got back into P5. So he's not giving up yet. Tom's trying to get the cut back, but can't quite do it. So Mr. Costa still setting fastest laps down there just for a bit of redemption. And he is closing out on Silent Assassins. That battle's not quite over just yet.
Liam is catching Leo at a pretty quick rate. And he's in lean. Well, he's in lean in the middle sector anyway.
Yeah, so this is going to be a very, very interesting battle, because he will have to fight Lyle Blade for this position. It's not like Lyle Blade's just going to give up. He's 2.6 behind on soft tyres. Lyle Blade on much older medium tyres. He's got a bit of lapped traffic to get past here. I think that's George, yeah, who is disconnected, so very easy. But
Aaron
he can...
making a dive bomb on Massives.
Yeah, there's the two debutantes going at it. That's what we like to see. VSR and Massive going at it. Massive still holds on. So these two guys trying to assert their positions in ILR. So let's see Aaron on the much faster tyre. Massive on slower medium tyres. So let's see. It's going to be probably Aaron to come out on top here. Goes to the inside. Is Massive going to fight hard in this one? He's going to go late on the brakes and try and hold it. But it's going to be Aaron who's going to take that position away. So some good fighting between the two of them, but Aaron comes out on top.
I think the standard corner cutting right now is kind of being a saving grace for many of these drivers, because there have been a lot of corner cuts
Yeah, but we had it. ILR1 has it on strict, so those guys are getting their act together. But these guys still exploiting their track limits as much as possible. And well, we haven't seen too many penalties, which is good. In fact, I don't think I've seen any corner cutting penalties so far today.
No, but then again, on standard corner cutting, you're not really gonna get too many warnings and penalties that easily.
Yeah. So now Liam under 2 seconds behind Lyle, with about 4 laps to go next time by. George still trying to get himself back in. But
Matthew is in 7th.
He's doing a fantastic job on his return. He's 2.3 seconds behind Tom. You can just see him in the background there in the Sauber. So if any of these guys have a problem, he can pick up the pieces and get himself a great result. He's already on for a great result anyway. But he will have VSR Aaron closing in on him very shortly. So that position may be a threat.
Ooh, yellow flag at sector 2.
Momentary yellow flag there. Everybody seems to have cleared up.
No one is in sector 2 apart from what Corey was. So, false alarm?
Probably, yeah. 4 laps to go. Gap between leaders 1.7. Who is going to get it? Lyleblade is still holding himself there. But I think Liam is going to close in. But it could be very tight at the end if Liam's tyres start to fall off the cliff.
Mm-hmm.
So then, this battle between Paul, Flexi and Scott still on. And Paul McGinn is still fighting away to take a podium, which would be a fantastic result for the Toro Rosso team. His teammate is down in 13th. And not having a good day, so 10 positions separate the two of them. But Sam looking very racy in P4. And can Sam get a good result for himself here? Gap 1.3 between Liam and Lyle. Just outside DRS range. Could we see a swap here between Sam and Paul? Scott just lurking in the background, waiting to pick up the pieces. And Matthew is now right on the back of Tom, by the way. There's now a trio battle between those guys as well. I think he's alongside, actually. Sam fighting Paul McGuinness for P3. Can he make it work? No, he can't. Meanwhile, let's go back to this little battle between Matthew and... that'll be Tom. He has managed to hold on, and Matthew has now got Aaron for company. Meanwhile, down the start-finish then. Paul McGinn is still trying to hold Sam behind him. Is Sam going to try anything at the turn? He's going to hang around the outside of the Scotsman. Is he going to make it work? Alongside into the long right-hander. Can he switch it to the inside? Paul's going to shut the door. There's contact, but he just gives enough room to work with. Fantastic racing between Sam and Paul then. Paul still on the outside. Sam holding on. I think he's got ahead, but Paul's still on the inside. He's going to go late on the brakes and hold on to position as much as possible. And Sam gets the cutback on the way out and gets into third. At last, he's got past. Fantastic bit of driving from the two of them. Fantastic racing. That's what we like to see. Hard but fair.
Made a ballsy move going around the outside of turn 1. Like, not many people can make a move around the first corner alone. So, gotta give it to him. DSR Matthew, Aaron has just made a move on Aaron. Oh, there. God, Aaron's made a move on
Brain
Matthew.
fart.
There we are.
Yeah,
in the end.
Aaron siding his way through the field, maybe slipping up the inside of Tom here. He's going to go on to a great result on his debut, but Matthew's not giving up though. He's trying to hang it on the inside, but he can't quite do it. So the train's still going on. Sam trying to break away from Paul here. Scott trying to get back past Paul and get one over on him, but unable to. Back to this battle then between the Renault and the Ferrari. He's going to dive down the inside. He's thinking about it. And he tries it, and he makes a bit of contact with the back of the Ferrari, but he gets away with it.
That corner didn't exist for him.
Yeah, Matthew lurking in the background, waiting to pick up the pieces, and he gets the good exit, does VSR Aaron. DRS for the Renault. He's going to be on the outside into turn 1. Can he get in front just before the first corner? Yes, he can. He's into P6. And can I just say that the gap between Liam and Lyle has gone up by half a second. So Liam's made a mistake somewhere and he's running out of laps.
Matthew's made a move on Tom.
Yes, he has. Into P7. Oh, Tom almost hit the back of him there.
There's a broken front wing, that's why he's been dropping off. Again, since his battles with Sam, Paul and Scott, he's got a bit of damage and he's just falling back.
So
that's unlucky for him.
Yeah, very unlucky for him. Scott now back within touching distance of Paul McGuinness then. These two had a fantastic battle earlier on. Let's see if Scott can get back past Paul McGuinness. So here comes the DRS. Paul McGuinness will have it as well. And you can see him going a little bit defensive into the middle of the track. And unable to make a move. We have 2 laps to go, and I think Lyle Blade is going to actually maybe hold on. Because Liam is dropping off. And he hasn't been able to make any headway on the Red Bull. 2 laps to go here in China. And the battle for the podium is still very much on. I didn't feel the laps going, but there it is. 1.5 seconds between the leaders. And barely a second between these guys. Sam just about holding on, but he's got 2 Scotsmen for company. Just behind. So maybe Lyle maybe controlling the pace a little bit. He seems to be very comfortable on those mediums. They've gone a long way in this race. And he's just got 1 more lap to go after this. And he can take a victory. And be our 2nd different winner this season. This battle for the podium is still very much on. We're about to head on to the final lap. Scott still looking for a way past Paul McGuinness here. Let's see if he can make anything work. Flexy's just built a small gap. He's just about a second ahead, but he still has DRS. Does Paul McGuinness? Can Scott make anything work? Last week he was battling for the win. This time he's battling for a podium. But we're heading on to the final lap. Lyle Blade heads on to the final lap and he could be on to take a victory here in China. He started on pole position. Can he make it a perfect score? Yes, keeping an eye on this battle between Scott and Paul McGuinness. It's do or die stuff now. Scott can't make anything work.
I have a feeling this battle will go down to who can brake latest at the hairpin. It's definitely looking like that, as they're just not being able to out traction one another, kind of staying even.
Yeah, Scott unable to make anything work then. Liam has suddenly closed in within about 1.2, but I think he's just outside DRS range. I don't think it's going to be enough for Liam. It's going to be a double podium though.
Whereas Leo's been able to run in Rich.
Yeah, so I think it's going to be Lyle Blade who's going to come through the final sequence of corners to take victory here in China. A masterclass from start to finish. Pole position and the win, it looks like, for the Red Bull. Coming through the final corner, it's going to be Lyle Blade taking victory in round 2 here in China for ILR2. Liam Robert with a double podium takes P2. Who is going to come out on top of this battle between Scott and Paul McGuinness? Scott's still trying, but I think it's going to be Flexy to take P3. Coming up to the last corner then, riding on board with Scott. I think Paul McGuinness is just going to hold on for P4. And yes, he does. So it's going to be P5 for Scott. VSR Aaron on his debut finishes in 6th position. Great result. EFC Matthew, by the way, taking P7. And Tom and Massive together. Massive just running out of fuel. He's run out of fuel. Will he get across the line? Yes, he can. Just about. Just about. Silent Assassin. Silent Assassin finishing just ahead of AVR Jake and Mr. Costa.
It wasn't quite a Parga in Monaco moment. He didn't lose a position, but that was very close.
The Matter just cruising his way up to the line. But he's the last of the classified finishers. I suppose he stopped on the line. And he's got across.
Well then.
So, I guess he had to make some sort of entertainment for himself. He's kind of on his own for the entire race.
Yeah. His strategy was too different from the others.
There it is, an all-British podium, it looks like. Lyle Blade takes victory here in China for round 2. Liam Robo takes his second podium in a row and looked very racy, but just couldn't quite get there. And Flexi takes a well-earned podium for Mercedes. That is going to be it for round 2 of ILR2 Season 3. Join us next time out in Bahrain. We hope to see you then. Thank you so much for watching. We'll see you next time. Bye-bye.
Ciao.